tomorrow. Stay with us. We have the latest on that here on Ghana Tonight. And also here on your election command center with 24 days to the December polls. Ballot papers are ready, and the Electoral Commission has announced plans to start transporting them beginning tomorrow. But there are some concerns about the inclusion of the deceased candidate on the ballot paper. Stay with us. President Akufo-Addo under fire for failure to mention illegal mining, Galamsey, the Galamsey menace at the ongoing COP29 conference. We'll tell you why civil society organizations are really raising concerns at the president's silence on this matter. But as always, you are an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is GhanaTonight on Facebook and on X. Certainly get talking and share your thoughts, views, comments and opinions with us. Read out to you and to the rest of the world. And we're monitoring quite closely how things are playing out, especially in the Amenfi Central constituency, because we're getting some information there which we'll seek some confirmation from the NDC this evening. Stay with us. We'll get into it here on Ghana Tonight. And we will connect with our colleagues as well on the ground to get some more information on this particular issue. Whether Joanna Jamkojo has been included on the latest notice of poll or not. That's what we're looking at tonight heavily. A set of Ghana briefs.
The Electoral Commission has questioned latest surveys indicating a decline in public trust in 8 activities. Surveys by Afrobarometer and the NCCE have revealed dwindling trust and worsening public perception about the work of the Commission some 24 days to the major elections. Speaking exclusively to TV3, however, Deputy Chair in charge of Corporate Services, Dr. Bosman Asare, says the surveys are not a true reflection of the work being done.
I don't want to jump onto that bandwagon because I don't know the people they ask. But again, my point is that you talk about the quality of elections in Africa. Ghana is one of the best in the continent. Ghana is one of the best in the business. So regarding this forensic audit issue you just mentioned, you remember as soon as we had a meeting publicly, which was televised nationally, all Ghanaians saw that the EC had nothing to hide. And since we finished that meeting, there have been no calls for any forensic audit.
The New Patriotic Party is mounting a fresh offensive, urging the National Democratic Congress flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, to rise to the challenge and debate the NPP's own Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on the economy. Director of Communications of the NPP, Richard Ahiagba, speaking to the media, rampaged the NDC's 24-hour economy policy and described the NPP's economic policies as potent.
Economy is the key issue in this election. We humbly appeal to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, please, sir, accept to debate on the economy. No excuses. What we are trying to find out is that whether or not you have a plan comparable to the MPP, whether or not your plan is superior to the MPP's to help drive economic growth for Ghanaians. Accept and show up for the debate so that Ghanaians can understand what, in our confusion, you mean by 24-hour economy.
Make no mistake by voting for Dr. Bawumia, as he will aggravate your hardship as imposed on you over the past 8 years. This is a caution from the flag bearer of the NDC to Ghanaians as he commenced his Western North regional campaign.
Bia obeto aba ama Bawumia eno kire se enfie wotwe say oma say yesikasem eka oma ma beda yeso ahokire aya achi Ghana for e se we ni je ho Obia obeto ama Bawumia ene se nia esi enfie wotwe se ahokire achire se eka beda yeso se yesikasem asay Echese eyade awofo aso.
If you are experiencing fuel shortages in the capital city, relief may be on the way as early as the weekend. According to the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, the shortage is due to supply suppression and lingering debts. In a statement released in the last hours of the day, COPEC indicates that facility upgrades at some depots of Bost in Accra and Kumasi have curtailed fuel discharge. At the same time, suppliers who are owed for services rendered are refusing to discharge fuel. But all that could be changing soon. The Black Stars have departed to Luanda ahead of their upcoming AFCON qualifying game against Angola on Friday. The team began preparations for the clash on Monday with their first training session held at the Accra Sports Stadium. All 23 players arrived by Tuesday and partook in a flight training session before jetting off to Angola. The team will train for one final time on Thursday in Luanda before facing Angola on Friday. Ghana needs all 3 points and a Sudan defeat against Niger to keep their qualification hopes alive.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, despite the High Court lifting the injunction of the NDC candidate for the Amenfi Central constituency, Joanna Jankujo, the Electoral Commission says it is yet to receive the court judgment before including her on the ballot paper. Now, here's what we do know. We've been keeping an eye on Amenfi Central quite closely over the period here on Ghana Tonight. We saw a notice of poll that was without Joanna Jankujo. Now, we're receiving some information that may have changed. We're yet to confirm that, so stay with us. In a few minutes, we're getting to this matter. But the Electoral Commission is saying until it is served or they have received the official court judgment which vacated the injunction on the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Amenfi Central constituency, Joanna Jankujo, so as to take steps to add her on the ballot paper. They're not going to do that. They are waiting for that particular service before they take the decision and then what to do to add her. Dr. Bosman Asari is Deputy Chair of the Electoral Commission in charge of corporate services. He spoke exclusively to us here at TV3 and making that point on the Amenfi Central constituency. Take a look.
What's the status of that?
No, I think the Commission made it very clear that we are a law-abiding institution. Whatever the courts will say, we are going to abide by that. And as you rightly pointed out, the candidate was disqualified on the basis of the injunction. So the Commission made it very clear, once this injunction is removed, the Commission has no choice. And as we speak now, we are waiting for a copy of the ruling. Once we receive that particular copy, then the Commission, that means the permission has been granted. So we are a completely law-abiding organization, whatever the courts. So once we receive a copy of the ruling, we will go by that. Currently, we've just heard in the news, in the media, nothing concrete has come to us. Once it comes to us, why not? We'll make sure we will do the needful.
So I can take it that Amenfi Central Parliamentary has not been.
That's what I'm saying. Once we receive the document from the court, we'll do the needful. We are law-abiding. On the basis of the law, the judgment of the court, we use that to disqualify the candidate. So if the same court, in their wisdom, they are saying that that injunction is no longer in force, it has been removed, then the Commission must do the needful.
How late will it be in the day? Because you're mentioning that it's not been, the processes of the court has not been served on you. Is there a time frame to which, if that is not done, it possibly could go against the party? So
far, I can't stick to a particular time frame because we still have almost about 28, 27 days, 24 days to the election. So from the Commission standpoint, I think we have enough quality time to be able to get this thing done. That means the special voting is even less than 20 days away.
Let's move to the...
That's Dr. Bosman Asare there, and a specific question that was put to him by Mawana Gbeta, my colleague, about the Amenfi Central constituency and the happenings related to the NDC candidate there. He says that they are yet to be served. They are yet to receive any information that has been concluded on by the courts. This is an exclusive interview that we got this evening with the Electoral Commission Deputy Chair. That's Dr. Bosman Asari there. But this is your Election Command Center. But really, what is the issue here and with Joanna Jankojo, and how has this particular issue traveled over the period till now? Then take a look at this and follow me closely. On the 13th of May, 2023, there was a first primary. That primary, Joanna Jankojo won that primary that was conducted by the NDC in the Amenfi Central constituency. But then there were questions raised about her eligibility and matters arising related to some issues about the identification cards and so on. But when this matter was taken to court, eventually the Functional Committee of the party annulled the primaries. That was the contentious issue that was took place on the 13th of May. They ordered a rerun. 3 days later, nominations were opened. On the 7th, in fact, of September 2024, there was a vetting. And it was on that day that Peter Yaw-Kwachiaka decided to withdraw from the race. And let me just put it on record. This is the man who is part of the 4 MPs who are in the eye of the storm with what is happening in Parliament right now. Peter Yaw-Kwachiaka is the incumbent Amenfi Central constituency member of Parliament on the ticket of the NDC. He's decided to contest this 2024 election as an independent candidate because of the fallout from this matter of the primaries, which he lost to Joanna Jankojo in the first instance, and then the next one from the race. And these were the 5 applicants who, on the 13th of May, after that primary, that Joanna Jankojo polled 756 of the votes against Peter Yaw-Kwachiaka, 575. The others you see them. These 5 persons, Jedu Frimpong, Akubila Daniel, Enoch Ntiamwa, Isaac Chum, and Doris Edu, they sued Joanna Jankojo and the NDC, and together with the Electoral Commission, following some allegations that Joanna Jankojo forged her voter ID card and so on. That matter has been dealt with by the courts right now. But the Electoral Commission is saying they are yet to receive any communication about this particular decision by the courts to, as it were, set aside that injunction on Joanna Jankojo. She's now eligible to contest. So why has the NDC not alerted the Electoral Commission on this? Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is the Deputy Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. I thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Per Dr. Bosman Asari, you just heard him. He says that even though the court has ruled Joanna Jankojo is eligible to contest, but you have not notified the Electoral Commission of this decision by the court. Why is that?
Alfred, let me say good evening to your cherished viewers. In fact, I'm surprised Dr. Bosman is saying this because I presented this to Dr. Bosman Asari 4:32 this afternoon. The ruling of the High Court, the Segedi High Court ruling, has been served to the Electoral Commission through Dr. Bosman Asari, Mr. Tete, and then as well as Benjamin Banobio, the Director of Electoral Service. In fact, I gave them, each of them, copies. He received it, acknowledged receipt of what I've shared. In fact, I shared it with him, soft copy. Thanks for sharing, Doctor. That was 1742. So 1742, that was 542. That's the time he acknowledged it and thanked me for sharing with him. So I'm surprised they say they have not seen this.
Well,
I have records of it.
That's what he's saying.
Haven't sent it. And I'm saying that I have record. I've just read my chat with him.
Right.
I shared it with him at 16:32 this afternoon. He received it at 17:42 and thanked me for sharing with him. And so they cannot feign ignorance of having received anything. They have received it. We have given them. And my printers, my printing agent, they have just informed me this evening that they have given orders for them to print a new ballot paper that will contain Joanna John Kujo. It means a decision has been taken on it as we speak now.
I see, because we saw a notice of poll, and that's going to be on the screen right now. This notice of poll that was earlier published and pasted around the constituency had just Albert Redu Akon of the MPP, Peter Yakwachiaka, the independent candidate, the incumbent, and then also Karl Mark Ahin. These were the three that were published in the first notice of poll. And we understand these were the three that were on the ballot papers that were first printed by the Electoral Commission. Now, so you're saying that you've received officially updated information that there is indeed a directive that Joanna John Kujo should be added to what we are seeing on the screen right now.
Yes, I'm giving you the current notice of poll, and I've just sent it to your producer, right, so that you can display it there. The current one, which I've just received, and then that has Joanna John Kujo on it, and that is what they are going to print. Your report, your producer, okay, Dennis can project it for you.
Yes, Dennis has it. Dennis has it. Yes, you're right about this. Yes, this is it. So this is the new one that has Albert Reko Akon, Joanna John Kujo comes second. Beautiful. She's second on the new notice of poll. This ballot, right? Yes. And then Yakwachiaka third, and then Karl Mark Ahin, also an independent candidate, in the fourth. So this is the current one.
This is the current one. This is the current one, and that's what they are going to print right now as we speak. So this is the current one. They've taken, they've acknowledged it, and they've done the needful. So we're just waiting for the ballot to start. So they are going to create the old ones.
So are they going to appear like this on the ballot paper, or the notice of poll is different from what is going to happen or what's going to appear on the ballot paper as it's going to be printed now?
This is how they will appear on the ballot paper. This is how they are going to appear. And so the printing of the new ballot papers will commence any moment from now. I've just gotten notification from my printing agents over there and my supervisor at the printing house that where they are going to print the ballot papers for Amenfi Central. And I can assure you this is the current one. And Joanna will be on the ballot as number 2.
I see. So I get the understanding, the ballot papers that have been printed already for Amenfi Central is going to be discarded, right? If that's what you're saying is anything to go by. Because the Electoral Commission has issued a statement this evening, which we'll put on the screen shortly, that they have finished printing and they'll start dispatching the ballot papers to the various constituencies beginning tomorrow. And the Western region is scheduled for Friday.
Yes, they were shredded. They are shredding it this evening. They are sharing all the old ones they've printed, and they are going to print new one. It is just a one constituency. It shouldn't take them. By the close of tomorrow morning, they would have finished printing that one. I mean, it doesn't take them much time to print one constituency parliamentary ballot. I mean, that one is a simple one. So by the close of tomorrow, they will have a full complement of Amenfi Central new ballot papers. So they are good to go.
I see. So all matters put to rest now for your people watching in the Amenfi Central constituency. Joanna John Kujo is going to be on the ballot paper. You've settled that with the Electoral Commission. They're going to print new ballot papers with her on it on number 2 on that position.
Certainly, that is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And she's going to win. She's going to win massively. I'm telling you. She's the laugh of the area. So
Peter Kwachiaka is not a threat. Peter Kwachiaka is not a threat to you. This is the incumbent. He's won the constituency twice. He has contested as an MPP candidate before in 2004, as an independent in 2008. He's been a DCE for the area. He knows the area quite well. You're not scared by that?
And he lost the parliamentary primary miserably. He lost it. That tells you that the people are fed up with him in that area. They are not more interested in him. They now have the new kid on the block, and that is Joanna John Kujo. Everybody loves her at that place. She's doing marvelously well there. I'm telling you, if tomorrow they even allow us to vote tomorrow, she will get not less than 90% of the vote cast in the constituency. I've been to the constituency, and I can tell you what she's doing there. She's a show lady, and the people love her.
Right. We'll see, and also leave that in the next 24 days. See how things will play out in the Amenfi Central constituency. That's a constituency to watch. Dr. Rashid Tanko, Computer, thank you so much for joining us here
I'm grateful.
On Ghana Tonight. And this is your Election Command Center. We have 24 days and the countdown is on. And this is the place to be here on your Election Command Center across all media journal platforms. 24 days to election day, December 7. Bring you everything you need to know. But there's a statement that's coming through from the Electoral Commission right now, and we're going to give that to you. And it's going to be on the screen right now. According to the Electoral Commission, they have finished printing ballot papers, almost done for the presidential and parliamentary. And this is the schedule for the distribution of the ballot papers across the country to all the 16 regions. So beginning tomorrow, the Greater Accra region presidential parliamentary ballot papers will be dispatched. Friday, the 15th of November, Central, Western, Savannah, Upper West region, by 12 noon, the dispatch will start. Saturday, 16th November, Ashanti, Ahafo, Western, North, 12 noon, they'll start dispatching the ballot papers to the various constituencies. And Sunday, 17th November 2024, Eastern, Upper East, Northeast, 12 noon, same time, they'll dispatch to the ballot papers to these regions. Monday, 18th November 2024, Northern, Bono East, Bono region, the ballot papers will be dispatched. And then the final one, Volta and OT, will be on Tuesday, the 19th of November 2024. So this is the schedule for transportation of the ballot papers to the various regions as communicated by the Electoral Commission in the statement that they released not too long ago. That's a concern, really, and that's coming up next here on Ghana Tonight. The Electoral Commission, although had put out this schedule, it's coming up next. The issue of Akufo-Addo still being on the ballot paper never seems to go away, even though the Electoral Commission has explained why they would want hers to still be on it. However, the flag bearer of the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG, Akufo-Addo, wants the commission to reprint the presidential ballot papers to take out Akufo-Addo, the late. Well, let's hear from EC Chair Jen Adokwe-Mensah exactly why the commission decided to still go ahead to use these ballot papers with the deceased, the late Akufo-Addo's picture on it. Take a look.
We are here to inform you of the Commission's decision to maintain the presidential ballot as it is. We are almost 90% complete with the printing of presidential ballots. The Commission would like to inform you that the printing would proceed on the current ballot as is, in the interest of time and to save this country millions of cedis.
Well, so there are two issues the Electoral Commission raised there, the time and then also the cost issues. And that's led to this consideration of Akufo-Addo, the late, still being on the ballot paper that is going to be used for the presidential elections on December 7. Akufo-Addo leads the LPG. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, why the concern? Because the Electoral Commission has just explained, as I just played to you there, at the IPAC meeting yesterday. Were you there? And did you raise any issues when the EC chair put out this explanation?
Oh, unfortunately, I wasn't at the IPAC yesterday. And my General Secretary was there. And he made the EC aware that we as a party don't support that stance that the Electoral Commission has taken. You see, if they're talking about money here, money is not an issue. Money shouldn't be a problem. And the money shouldn't be a reason why we are not going to remove Akufo-Addo on the ballot. Assuming the candidates who tried to stand in for Akufo-Addo had managed to sail through, we would have printed a new ballot papers Now, this guy was not able to go through. Doesn't mean that we should not print new ballot papers. And also, if assuming one of the major parties like MPP candidate had passed away, assuming the NPP candidate had passed away, are we going to say that because MPP candidate has passed away, we're not going to print new ballot papers? Or assuming the NDC candidate had passed away, are we going to say we're not going to print new papers? So that money thing that they're talking about, they're using as an excuse, it's not something that is tenable. We have to throw it away and then print new ballot papers so that we have peaceful elections. Because the AC is advocating that they are going to educate people, or they're going to create the awareness that voting for will be invalid. But have we asked ourselves how many people listen to the radio or watch television?
Well, I mean,
most of the Ghanaians, they don't even watch TV, or they don't even listen to political discourse.
I don't know why you're getting this information from, that most Ghanaians don't watch TV or listen to the radio, but I disagree with you on that. But I don't know why you are getting this. In fact, there are hundreds of people who are watching you tonight, right now, okay? And that cuts across. At least I can speak for what we do here on TV3 and across all media journal platforms. People watch and they listen, and they would get to know how things are playing out as well. So what are you going to do? I mean, beyond this, because you were not at the IPAC meeting yesterday. So then what next?
Actually, we drew their attention to it that as a party, we don't support it. And they should rethink about their decision.
Okay, we'll see how the coming days will look like on this matter. But I thank you. And that's Kofi-Akpaloo. He leads the LPG, that's Liberal Party of Ghana. It's a presidential candidate of the party going into this election. And you heard the Electoral Commission as well explaining why they've decided to go with this ballot papers with a Electoral on it. Yesterday, when we asked Dr. Rashid Tanko, who was at the IPAC meeting, he had indicated that all the votes that will go to Electoral would now be counted as invalid. And that's the question that was put to them, that's the Electoral Commission yesterday as well. But this is your election command center. There's a lot more to look out for. 24 days to this crucial election day, December 7, here across all media journal platforms. So stay with us every step of the way. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, President Akufo-Addo is under fire for his failure to mention the impact of illegal mining in his COP29 address. And a number of the CSOs and indeed Ghanaians are raising fundamental questions about the president's silence on the impact of illegal mining, at least at the international stage. So if we need help, that can also be given. But President Akufo-Addo yesterday called on world leaders to move beyond rhetoric and take decisive action to address global climate crisis. He spoke at the COP29 in Azerbaijan during the World Climate Leaders Summit, emphasizing the need for effective measures to protect vulnerable communities from the increasing threats posed by climate change.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It is my pleasure to welcome His Excellency Nana Addo Danwa Akufo-Addo, President of Ghana. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Chairperson, Excellencies, distinguished leaders, Ghana thanks Azerbaijan for her warm welcome and congratulates her for assuming the chairmanship of COP with dedication to our shared future, as I attend COP for the last time as President of the Republic of Ghana. Today we gather not merely as leaders or policymakers, but as individuals bound by our love for our lands and future generations. We're here to declare we stand in solidarity for a green world. For Ghana, climate change is real and immediate, affecting our farmers, coastlines, and communities. Rising temperatures and unpredictable weather threaten our livelihoods daily. Yet we respond with resilience and commitment. In 2021, Ghana submitted updated nationally determined contributions to the United Nations, encompassing 47 programs to mitigate and adapt to climate impacts. Our goal is to cut emissions by 64 million metric tons by 2030, demanding investments between 10 and 15 billion United States dollars. Despite financial and technical hurdles, we're determined to meet the Paris Agreement's goals across agriculture, transport, forestry, energy, and other sectors. We have made strides. The Green Ghana project has planted 50 million trees, and forest restoration efforts have covered 721,000 hectares since 2017 when I came to office. 13 mitigation actions have cut annual greenhouse gas emissions by 43% since 2021. Ghana's national electric vehicle policy, backed by tax incentives, promotes sustainable mobility, and our energy transition framework steers us towards a green future. Through Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, Ghana has mobilized 800 million United States dollars by trading carbon credits with nations like Switzerland and Sweden. However, we cannot reach our climate goals alone. We call on our global partners to honor their commitments, ensuring accessible concessional financing for sustainable development in Africa without unsustainable debt. As a father and a grandfather, I question what we will leave behind. What world will we leave behind? Our children's future hinges on our decisions. That COP29 here in Azerbaijan marks a pivotal shift from dialogue to decisive action. Let us act boldly, showing future generations that we fought for them. Ghana stands united with the world for a green, resilient tomorrow.
That's President Akufo-Addo. Some sound words there, but while others commend the president for his speech, others are not enthused because he left fundamental issues happening in this country out of that. Let's engage two people. One in Azerbaijan who was attending this same conference that the president is attending, and the president just spoke there, as you saw it yesterday. Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana, Daryl Bosu, is joining us from Azerbaijan. Also, Awula Sewa is the National Coordinator for Eco-Conscious, one of the foremost CSOs in the environment space in this country, is here with me in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Great. And Dara, I'll have you on mute for me, but I'll start off with you. I mean, listening to the president, I'm going to just recall the last words of that speech we just played. He says that as a father and a grandfather, he is worried about the kind of world that he is going to be living behind, because the decisions of today would impact on the future of his grandchildren and the children as well. How does that strike you?
Ironical. If you really believe what he was saying, why did he pass EI 144, which declassifies parts of Achimota Forest, knowing very well that Achimota Forest is the last remaining forest reserve in Accra? Why would he remove the lungs of Accra? He knows very well that if our ancestors had been as greedy as we are, we wouldn't have had anything to come to. And if he cares about his children and grandchildren, why was LI 2462 passed? A perverse piece of legislation that allows mining in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity areas. If he cares about his children and grandchildren, why is he not taking decisive action against illegal mining? Why did he not agree to the state of emergency to remove illegal miners and their equipment from our forest reserves and from our water bodies, knowing that we face an existential threat, that we are being poisoned by the activities of the criminal illegal miners. If he cared that much, why is he allowing Akonta mining to walk free when we know that according to the information, they are alleged to have destroyed parts of the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve and there's been no accountability? If he cares so much about his children and grandchildren and what we are leaving to them, why is it that those that were mentioned in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report are walking free, whilst activists are those who are being hounded by the police? I find all this very, very interesting, and I don't know who he's actually talking to.
I see. Well, he was talking to the global leaders. You say that this is ironical and misrepresentation, essentially?
Well, it's also a reflection of the facts that we see. When we look at the images, we look at the loss of forest cover, we look at how most of our water bodies are, are polluted, and that we are still granting licenses, whether mining, prospective, whatever you call it, to go and destroy our forest reserves. How does this show that we are interested in preserving the environment? Absolutely not. It just makes us look like very greedy people who are only interested in the wealth they can get from the minerals we have, but not at all interested in the consequences. We face an existential threat: rise in kidney disease, rise in cancers, rise in maternal deaths, stillborn babies, deformed, babies born with birth defects, and yet instead of pausing small-scale mining until we get our act together, we are continuing with it. Look at the manifestos of all the political parties. Apart from Alan Tremontaine, who has a 10-point plan and talks about pausing or banning community mining or small-scale mining for a while, who is seriously addressing the menace we face?
I see, and I will ask, stay with me a bit. Let's cross over to Azerbaijan now. And Daroboso, Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana, is one of a few CSOs from Ghana in the environment space who are attending this conference as well. Darrell, appreciate that you could stay to connect with us. It's about 3 a.m., 4 a.m. where you are. But hearing the president speak, I'm sure you were in that audience. Now, was that disconnect based on the realities we're faced with?
You made a very good point. And this is one thing I've also had a very serious issue with, the fact that everything the president said is something you say, an admonition that should go to himself. Because he talked about now moving away from dialogue to action. He talked about the fact that as elderly, we need to make sure we leave a sustainable future for generations yet to come. But the thing is that once in Ghana, these reflections and all the things he said is not the way he's addressing Galamsey. And when we talk about climate change, I mean, there are several drivers of climate change. One has to do with deforestation and forest degradation, where you lose your forests, which have the capacity to help you also control and regulate the heating, the temperatures that are going up. Also ensure that there is sufficient food security so that in the midst of insecurity coming from drought and all of that, communities can have access to food and all of those. But in Ghana, we have seen Galamsey destroying farmlands, then putting food security at risk. We've seen our water bodies being polluted severely to the extent that there are also associated health risks and all of that. These are the things that are driving vulnerabilities in Ghana now. So once you start talking about climate change in Ghana, you cannot do that without talking about the menace and the impact Galamsey is having on the lives of Ghanaians. And so any leader, any government, any president who thinks that they can talk about climate change and then look the other way in terms of actions to address Galamsey is missing the mark. And this is where I think that the president has really missed the opportunity to have taken the necessary steps to deal with Galamsey, because once you are not interested in dealing with Galamsey, then everything you are saying on the international platform concerning climate change is just a facade. And that is what we have seen him do over and over again. He just, always is spot on with the rhetorics, but there is no commitment in addressing one of the major drivers of climate vulnerabilities in Ghana, which is Galamsey as it is now. We also need to call our leaders out. So far, our president is, like I said, he's an international darling boy. He's always saying all the good things that people want to hear. But coming back home to Ghana, everything he's done in terms of forests, the Forest Conservation Leadership Partnership, the Climate Vulnerable Forum. We're chairing the Climate Vulnerable Forum. We're also co-chairs of the Forest and Climate Leadership Partnership. All of this was great, but we have not seen it translate to actions on the ground. And that is where we think that CSOs must not relent. They must keep voicing these issues out and make our government accountable, and also ensure that there's transparency in terms of the disbursements and the actions that government is reporting on the international platform. Because sometimes what we have seen is that the realities that is presented at the international platform through the flowery speeches is very different from the realities of people living in Ghana, and the kind of hassle and the trouble and the risks and the exposure that they are experiencing as a result of the unchecked activities of illegal mining and the associated impunity that comes with it.
You couldn't have put it any better than this, Darrell. And I'm going to end with you on this. In as much as, yes, you wouldn't expect that the president is going to wash out dirty linen of Galamsey on the international front, you hear him speak about the existential threat that climate change poses to us, right? Because he made the point that climate change is real and immediate and threatens our livelihoods daily. But that's what Galamsey is doing, is it not?
Well, you see, it makes him even worse because he knows what's going on. He's aware of the ecocide going on. He knows what illegal mining is doing. He knows that the firefighters are actually the arsonists. A lot of them are within the party or supporters of the party. So it's one thing not being competent enough to appreciate the problem, but I think it's an indictment when he's very much aware of what is going on. He's very much aware and he's stating it, and yet he will not do anything to stop it. And I think that's one of the worst things you can do. Be aware of how your people are dying, facing an existential threat. You have the power to do something about it, and you refuse to do something about it because you want your party to remain in power. I think this is terrible. This is unacceptable, and the international community is complicit. Complicit because they have their embassies and high commissions here, so they know exactly what is going on. And yet they hear all these speeches which they know do not reflect the true facts. And for whatever reason, they choose to go along with this. And I think this is not good for Ghana, and it's not good for the respect we might have for the international community.
I do appreciate you on this, and I thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts on this matter. But maybe, and maybe in 30 seconds and so on, well, the organized labor is off the plate in terms of the pressure. UTAG is off. So what next? Awula.
To persevere, we need to continue. We face an existential threat. We have been disappointed by organized labor, but that doesn't stop us from reorganizing and seeing what can be done to stop the ship from sinking. Because we do face an existential threat. We have been let down by organized labor, but that's not the end of the story. We will regroup and we will organize ourselves to act and ensure that we save this country from destruction.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Awula Sewa is National Coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens, one of the former CSOs in the environmental space. Darrell Bosso connecting with us from Azerbaijan. Thank you. Attending COP29 is Deputy National Director of Arocha Ghana. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And I'm going to show you these videos that came through from a good friend of ours, Adam Srem. These are drone videos of the Densu Enclave. This is the area around the Densu River. And you have some parts of the Densu River diverted by these Galamsey operators, which we took our eyes off the ball a bit, but there's a lot that's happening. Illegal mining is going on in many places across the country. Fundamental question is, what is the latest update in terms of the impact of this latest operations by the military, as was commissioned by government to clamp down on illegal mining? But this is it. This is how the real picture looks like right now. And these are drone videos of what is happening within the Densu enclave. And you recall that we had reported earlier that the Densu was polluted, and that feeds into the Wager Dam. That is also a source of water for Ghana Water to distribute to a number of us, millions here in the Greater Accra region. Should be concerned about this. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, you recall that yesterday, the Chief Justice, Gato Tokono, had indicated that the full reasoning behind the ruling regarding the decision to, as it were, set aside and annul and declare as null and void the Speaker's declaration of the 4 seats vacant was going to be made available today. We haven't received it as yet. You have a voice on this. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Well, this is a conversation that since morning a number of you have been having in anticipation of the said announcement by the Chief Justice yesterday. But let's recall exactly what the Chief Justice said. And then Emmanuel Samani's speech comes somewhere here in the Greater Accra. We will connect with him live to speak to the people on the Voice of the People segment. Let's take a look.
By court, in a majority decision of 5-2, Lovelace Johnson JSC and Amadou Tanko JSC dissenting on the issue of jurisdiction, the plaintiff's action succeeds. The full reasons and orders of the court shall be filed with the registrar by close of day tomorrow, 13th November 2024. This is the judgment of the court.
Most grateful.
So that's a Chief Justice there. By close of day today, the full reasoning, at least all things being equal, is expected to have been filed at the court registry. So we'll see whether the coming days, maybe tomorrow, we would get it as well. But Emmanuel Samani is connecting with me right now. A number of you already having your views about how things played out yesterday at the Supreme Court. Samani, what are they talking to you about?
Absolutely, Alfred. Good evening and welcome to the People's Voice here on Ghana Tonight. And I am Emmanuel Samani. Tonight,
on 3FM 92.7. Tomorrow morning, John Hughes and Helena Piampo let's take their seats from 6:30 a.m. Also, Roland Walker together with the team on New Day tomorrow morning. Make a date with them. On behalf of the rest of the team, I am Alfred Okansi. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.